Look, I know that you are sick and tired of listening to every YouTube show, every fantasy football podcast, every damn football related thing talking about 2021. I know you're sick of it. I know you're tired of hearing about Devonta Smith versus Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle versus Rondale Moore, Rashad Bateman is my wide receiver. I know you're sick of hearing it because, damn it, I'm sick and tired of talking about it. I'm tired of talking about it. And at this point, it truly does none of us any good to continue these debates over the 2021 prospects. Wide receivers, running back, FTN, Harris, Justin Fields stinks. Zach Wilson is the second coming of Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. There's no point. There's no point right now. We are weeks away from the NFL draft. Let's just let that happen. Let's see where these guys get drafted. Let's see what rounds they get picked in. And then we can come back and revisit the situations. But at this point, I'm done. We cannot continue to do prospect profiles and all of this shit over 2021, guys. The reason why y'all tap in, the reason why y'all lock in and rock with Destination W, you subscribe to this YouTube channel, you check out the podcast, and if you're not, make sure you do that. You check out Elite Seekers with Ben Evie. You're rocking with what Jay Rich is putting out. Is because Destination W is designed to keep you one step ahead of your league mates. And sitting here discussing all these 2021 guys ad nauseum when, hell, I've already done it. Go back 2 years ago and listen to me talk about Rondale Moore and Jalen Waddle. We already done all this shit. So to continue to do this it's just a pointless debate. We have got to move forward. I want to keep you one step ahead, and the best way to do that, the best way to tap into staying ahead of your league mates, playing chess while they're playing checkers, is to follow, pay attention, and rock with the college game. But if you don't, that's why you tap in OGQ, because I'm going to keep you locked into place. I'm going to make sure that you're ready for these 2022, 2023, and 2024 prospects for your fantasy football rosters years in advance. So by the time those classes roll around, you're going to know everything you need to know about the top prospects, the top players, the top fantasy assets, because you tap into Destination Devi. And I cannot think of a better way to get this shit rolling, to get back to the roots, the essence of what we do, than hearing a word from my man Gus Johnson. Drop the intro, baby.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
All right, welcome back. This is Destination Devi, and I am the host, the captain of this here thing that we do, Ray G. You can find me on Twitter at RayGQ. Make sure you're following the show at Destination Devi as well. And today we are going to talk about two prospects, 2022 running back and a 2023 running back that should be stars in college football here in the 2021 season and stars on our fantasy rosters here sooner rather than later. And I want to take it to the SEC and start with a player who was not expected to be like the lead guy here in this COVID-shortened 2020 season. And I'm talking about University of South Carolina running back rising junior Kevin Harris. Harris has slowly or quickly become one of my favorite running backs in a 2022 class that right now on paper is pretty weak. So just FYI, if you're looking for a running back in the next couple of years, I really hope you secured one of the guys in 2020. And if you don't, make sure you get Kenneth Gainwell, FTN, Najee Harris, or Javonte Williams here in 2021, because 2022 pickings are slim right now. But Kevin Harris definitely has the body type, the physical attributes, the production to sort of propel himself into that top 5 position in that 2022 class. Right now, you're looking at players like Eric Gray out of Oklahoma, Breece Hall from Iowa State, Isaiah Spiller from Texas A&M, Kyron Williams of Notre Dame, and then Kevin Harris should be mentioned right there amongst those top 5 running backs in 2022. You know, he was one of those players that was not expected to be the lead guy here in 2020 when they signed highly touted 4- or 5-star recruit, depending on which service you look at, Marshawn Lloyd. The talented true freshman was probably supposed to be the guy to come in and be the workhorse running back, you know, in that South Carolina backfield. Kevin Harris didn't do much in his freshman season. Played as a true freshman, did not do much. But when Marshawn Lloyd tore his ACL prior to the season starting, it opened the door for Harris to be the lead guy, and he did not disappoint. And when you look at him, man, he's got the physical size. He's got the build to be a true bell cow running back at the next level at 5'10", 5'11", 220. I've seen him listed at 229. I mean, he's got the build to play running back all three downs at the next level. And when you look at, his high school pedigree, he wasn't some highly touted kid. He was a three-star recruit, didn't have like a tremendous amount of big name offers, but goes to South Carolina. His opportunity, the opportunity knocked, he answered, and he blew it out of the water in 10 games, rushing for almost 1,200 yards, sub 200 carries. I mean, that's super impressive on a South Carolina team that did not have a lot. They've got a talented quarterback that should be taking over, Luke Doty, taking over that quarterback reign, dual threat kind of quarterback to help out Kevin Harris. We know Marshawn Lloyd to be back. But Harris, when you watch him on tape, like he reminds me, and I know this sounds gross, but like of what James Conner would be if James Conner was actually like athletic and really good. That's sort of what Kevin Harris reminds me of. The build, he's a physical runner. He's not going to beat you laterally a lot, like with a lot of stop and go, Shady McCoy type agility. But he's got a nice one-cut downhill runner, physical running style, and we saw him catch 20-plus passes in the 2020 season. So we want those running backs for our fantasy football teams that not only can command the workload out of the backfield, but can catch the ball. And Kevin Harris can do that. He was top 10 in the country last year in 10-plus yard runs. I think he had like 31 of those, and he was also top 25 in the country with yards created after contact. So big physical bruising runner and having an ability to pop off 10-plus yard runs. He had a verified 40-yard dash time of 4.55 coming out of high school. So for a running back at 225, 230 pounds to be hitting 4.5, it's pretty damn good, right? Like you're not gonna mistake him as some blazer. But I mean, he did have multiple 60, 70-yard runs this past season where you see him pulling away from defensive backs in the SEC. So he does have more than enough speed. It's not slow by any stretch of the imagination. Like I know I said James Conner was good, but Kevin Harris low-key reminds me of James Robinson with a little more juice. That bigger bodied running back that can catch the ball and can command the work out of the backfield. And I don't hear people talking about Kevin Harris enough. It's just, when you're talking about SEC running backs, you're talking about one of my guys. I love him. Tank Bigsby out of Auburn. You're hearing, all these other names, LSU. You still hear John Emery Jr. We're hearing about Zamir White, Isaiah Spiller. Kevin Harris deserves to be in the conversation as one of the top returning running backs, not just in the SEC, but in college football. Period. Remember the name Kevin Harris. He is 2022 eligible, and I believe with a strong season here in 2021, he will go ahead and declare for the draft. And at that point, it's letting the process play out. But one of the names that's not on the radars of a lot of people yet, but Kevin Harris is a dope-ass player, dope running back, love his game. Check out his highlights. The kid can play. Now, Bijan Robinson, a lot of people know this name. Bijan Robinson is or was the highest rated running back coming out of high school last year out of Arizona. The kid was an absolute star, absolute monster. If you just want to know like who Bijan is, go look at his high school stats. Like ridiculous. There was one game, I believe, that he had like over 1,500 rushing yards in like 5 games. It's insane. Maybe it was less than that. Like I can't think of the exact stat line it was, but 3 straight 2,000-yard seasons. That tells you everything you need to know about Bijan Robinson. He left Arizona as the all-time leading rusher in Arizona State history, Arizona State, high school football history, as well as the leader in touchdowns. Just an absolute monster. And as I was digging into Bijan, I saw that my favorite college football team, the USC Trojans, were actually recruiting him. Kind of West Coast, makes sense. And he just continued to improve upon his 40-yard dash time. It was going into his junior season of high school. He improved his 40-yard dash time from like a 4.58 to a 4.48, and then verified going into his senior year at a 4.42 40-yard dash. And I very well think that, but when it's all said and done with Bijan Robinson, you're looking at a player that could go sub 4.4 in the 40-yard dash. And I know That 40 time is not indicative. It's no sort of indication on fantasy football success. But what it does show is when you hit the open field, when you catch those screens, when you bust through the middle, you've got the speed to take it the distance. And that's what you love, that big playability. And that's what Bijan Robinson does. Big play, Bijan. Listen, University of Texas is ushering in an entire new offense, an entire new system, philosophy with Steve Sarkeesian coming over from Alabama. And we saw him work wonders with Najee Harris this past season. And I know a lot of people at first was like, Sark, what a shit hire. He didn't do anything at USC. Well, he had battled some addictions, right? Alcohol abuse at University of Southern California, and it didn't work out for him there. But he goes, has a couple of stints and with the Atlanta Falcons and then with Alabama. And I think this is an entirely new Steve Sark. And we saw him call a masterful game in the national championship. And the way that he utilized Najee Harris out of the backfield, in the receiving game, between the tackles, utilizing him while keeping him fresh, you should be extremely excited about this talented rising sophomore. Bijan, 6 foot, 225 pounds. Listen, he has a prowess for catching the ball. Like that was, if you look at his 24/7 sports recruiting profile, he's comped to Alvin Kamara because of what he can do out of the backfield. And he only scratched like the tip of the iceberg, like the top of the surface with his production in 2020 because he was still sharing the backfield with the shell of Keontae Ingram, Roschon Johnson, Sam Ehlinger's rushing, kind of caps all of those running backs. But Bijan is just now like getting started. It is going to be marvelous in 2021, watching Bijan Robinson, watching whether it's Casey Thompson or Hudson Card, the talented 5-star quarterback, Troy O'Meara on the outside, Jordan Whittington, Jake Smith, the guy that I've talked about multiple times over the past couple of years. But make no mistake about it, Bijan is going to be the guy in the backfield for Texas. So in 9 games during the 2020 season for the Big 12 and for the University of Texas, Bijan Robinson only had 3 games over 100 yards. But what's insane about that is the games that he did go over 100 yards, he did it on like sub 15 carries. I mean, we're talking about 10 carries for 183 yards, 12 carries, 113 yards, 9 carries, 172 yards. He is just dripping with potential and talent. And when you think about, the great University of Texas running backs, Jamal Charles, Ricky Williams, Bijan really could go down in history as one of the best, especially if he stays healthy. He commands the majority of the work, and I don't see why he wouldn't. Sark knows what he has in Bijan Robinson. Roschon Johnson is straight, converted high school quarterback. Was quarterback at UT for a minute before transferring over to the running back position because of injury. Sark knows what he has in Bijan, and he is going to utilize this kid to his full potential. Right now, when you're talking about 2023, Bijan Robinson is right at the top of the class at the running back position, which is absolutely loaded. Bijan Robinson, Tank Bigsby, Jahmyr Gibbs, Seth McGowan, the name Chip Trainium from Arizona State. The name goes on and on. Like I can literally continue to ramble names from the 2023 class. And why this is important is while everybody, all of your league mates are focused on 2021, that's all they're thinking about. You know that the Kevin Harrises are coming in 2022. You know that a Bijan Robinson or a Jahmyr Gibbs or a Tank Bigsby could be eligible in 2023. So while your league mates are fawning over all of these picks, trade some of them shits. Trade some of those seconds and thirds and get you a 2022 first. Get you a 2023 first. If you've got an aging veteran, make sure you package up a player like that to acquire some of these picks now. That way, when we're sitting and we're talking and having discussions about the 2022 class here in a year from now, you're going to be sitting on gold, having all of those 2022 first. And if you're even lucky, you're having those 2023 picks because Bijan Robinson, if I had to put my money on, Big 12 Player of the Year here in 2021, I think Bijan Robinson would be right at the top of the list. Him, Spencer Rattler, they like to get that shit to quarterback. So you got to have Spencer Rattler, who is a fantastic quarterback prospect. And we'll dive into some of those 2022 quarterbacks here very, very soon. But Robinson's size, his speed, his athletic ability, his receiving chops that he has to catch the ball out of the backfield. You know, if he's not running back 1 in 2023, he's running back 1B. It's 1A, 1B. For me personally, in my rankings over on Patreon, patreon.com/allgas, I have him and Tank Bigsby as RB1 and RB2. I've got Tank at RB1, Bijan at RB2, but really they're both like RB1 and RB1A. Neither of them are RB2s. And shit, if I'm being honest with you, Jahmyr Gibbs is probably RB1C. Like, those three players are in a tier of their own. They are incredible prospects, incredible players, and players that we should be excited about watching this upcoming season. So for those of you checking out this and like, I don't really watch the college game, or I don't really root for a team, you don't have to root for a team or watch every single game, but check out some of the teams that have these players. Check out South Carolina. They're going to be on ESPN. Check out Texas. They're going to play on Fox. They're going to play on ABC. These are the premier names. So just tap into those games and watch some of these players to give you an idea of what's coming next. And I'm telling you right now, both of these cats, Kevin Harris and Bijan Robinson, are players that we will be discussing, just like we're talking about Najee and Travis Etienne. We're going to be talking about Kevin Harris in 2022 if he decides to declare, and Bijan Robinson in 2023. We are here to help you Devy and Dynasty better. Playing chess, not checkers, is the name of the damn game over here on Destination Devy. And if you want even more of an inside look to this crazy Devy college game, keeping you one step ahead, then I'm telling you, you got to come join the squad. Patreon.com/allgas. That's where it's at. The Devy database loaded with over 175 collegiate prospects. Tiered up. I don't really like to rank, like, you know, who's 1, 2, 3, because that shit changes all the time. Super fluid process. So tier-based approach. Who are the tier 1 prospects in college football? There you go. Got it. Mobile right in your pocket. Check it out. Check out those games. Follow the people that stay in the know and in the loop, and make sure you are tapped in. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, because we are back to the roots, talking college. We'll do some rookie stuff here and there, but we ain't doing no more profiles and all of that shit. You got enough of that information. We'll do some ADP review and things like that with Jay Rich coming up. Make sure you're checking out the podcast with Elite Seekers with Ben Eby, dropping a lot of that dope content with some of these upcoming 2024 prospects. JoJo Earl, one of my personal favorites, going to Alabama. I got it tight, man. I like speed. I like dynamism. But make sure y'all are tapped into Destination Devy. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Until next time, peace. Oh shit, no. Is he a redshirt junior? I don't know, hold on. I should have just said Rising Junior. My strings are off. Fix my strings, there we go.